Welcome to another episode of Hanging with Jorge. Well, today we're embarking on the 4th of July weekend, and it's a great time to get out there, out and enjoy nature. It's so important for our mind, our body, and our spirit because, after all, we are composite beings, right? Mind, body, and spirit. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but getting out into nature is extremely helpful. Why? Because there's a thing called fractals, and you might be saying, gosh, what are we talking about math right now? Why are we using math terms here? What does that have to do with me hiking? Well, it has a lot. It has a lot to do with it. Because when you're out there in nature, there's different patterns, and they're very pleasing to the mind. So you see the patterns of a coastline. You see the patterns of trees. You see the patterns of a mountain range, of a group of rocks, of patterns of dirt and grass and so forth. It's very pleasing to us. It's very important to make that bond with nature. So these fractals help us and help calm us and help release the hormones that make us feel good. It kicks in those endorphins and dopamine and so forth. So it's very important to get out into nature and experience that. So, one of the things that I do note is that when I'm out there, sometimes I see people with headsets on and so forth. Personally, I think you're robbing yourself. And also, I don't know if it's so safe. A couple reasons. One, when I'm out in nature, I want to enjoy the sights, the sounds, the smells of nature. Look, when you're out there and you hear, chipmunks scurrying around on the ground, or a squirrel, or you hear a crow, or, you see a deer running through the woods, you hear a fish splashing, breaking water when they're getting their prey. It's exciting. Yesterday, I did a 3-mile hike up the waterfall and around McMillan Reservoir, and I see this young woman sitting by the lake, looking out onto the reservoir. I mean, beautiful scene. But she's got her beats on. I mean, look, do what you want to do, but the thing is, are you really getting the most out of nature? Are you really getting involved with the sounds, the sights, the smells when you're sitting there jamming to your tunes or listening to an audiobook? I don't know. But I think you are kind of, maybe ripping yourself off a little bit. So get out there and enjoy nature. Take it for what it's meant. It's a great time to disconnect, from social media, even though you're on it right now. But you do need time to disconnect from it and just be one with nature. Listen to your breath, feel your heartbeat, feel what's going on around you. Be in tune with your body and in tune with your environment. So, going back to this too, is that, what I told you, did a 3-mile hike yesterday evening, and this morning I hit a run, but I haven't done one of these Hanging with Jorge's in a couple of weeks because I did have an injury. So what happened was, a number of years ago, 7 years ago, I injured the popliteus. It's a tendon behind the knee. And I was driving for 7 hours, and I had to get up and sprint, and it didn't feel too good. But once in a while it kicks up, and I've been feeling good with my sprinting because, on days that I do my sprint and run, I'll run and then sprint. And I started getting a little overzealous. I lean toward that way once in a while. And I was really hitting it hard, and I felt my hammy pulling up, which then put a lot of stress on that popliteus, and then my leg blew up. So I did dry needling, rolled out with a softball as well as a foam roller, and I kept stretching, and I kept moving it. I rested it at first, iced it, but I kept moving it. That movement is important. It actually goes along with the MEAT protocol. So that's movement, exercise, analgesic, and treatment. So you want to move the joint if you can, move the area, get blood flow. You want to exercise if you can, even if you have to scale it down a little bit. And then, you apply your analgesic, whether it's ice, whether it's salves, arnica, things like that, or taking Advil or some type of anti-inflammatory. And then treatment after that if it doesn't get better. And what you do is you kind of mix all those together in a holistic approach to healing. I'll tell you, within 3 weeks, I'm fine. The edema's gone. I'm back working again. So when I came back, as opposed to hitting it super hard on my run today, what I did was I ran 30 seconds and walked 30 seconds. And actually felt pretty darn good. Then, hit a stretch, and I'm about to do my kettlebells and probably hit the heavy bag and then get on with the rest of my day, get back to my sessions. But the important thing is that when you do get an injury, keep moving. Don't just stop. Because when you stop, it gets all bound up. That's the old technology, old thought processes to rest it. No, you want to move it around. You're going to recover a lot quicker. So, my suggestion is that when you get injured, keep moving, especially if you have, if you're on a good regimen and you're hitting it hard, you're working every day, you're training, you don't want to disrupt that. So do something different, do workarounds, but try to move the area if at all possible. Hope you enjoyed this segment. Strength and honor. Happy birthday to our country.